Okay, so good evening, everybody. Just to make sure you can hear me, can you pop into the chat if you can hear me? I know we can't yet unmute ourselves, but if you can hear me, just pop into the chat that you can hear me. All right, thank you. I'm seeing some people's messages. All right, fantastic, fantastic. So, hello everybody, and welcome to this edition of Emigrate's Open Day. This is our 7th or so edition of the Open Day series. And we are very sure that this is going to be very informative for you. Welcome. Emigrate is a play on word of the word emigrate, but it's a play on that word as we are techies. I believe many of us on this call are techies or are aspiring to be techies. So welcome to today's edition of the Open Day. Emigrate focuses on tech-enabled pathway to relocation and settlement. My name is Bade Adeshemowo. I'm the co-founder and CTO of Social Lender, amongst many other things. Today, we'll be joined by a guest, Mr. Olusola Amusan. If he's not in the room already, I'm sure he will be joining us any moment from now. And we'll be joined by Mr. Olusola, who will be talking to us about some opportunities available for North America, particularly for techies. So focusing on the United States and also Canada. If you have questions during the sessions, please pop it in the chat. We typically will take questions that you have already written in the chat before we allow people to unmute. Other housekeeping, I will just give a quick introduction about Emigrate, and then we would hand over to our guest. And right after our guest has made this presentation, we will then have open floor for question and answer. We already have some questions from the community that will be taken first, but right after that, then there will be allowance for everyone to ask their own questions as well. I see Mr. Olusola in the room already. Welcome. Making him co-host. Just to make sure is Mr. Olusola, are you on? Okay, I'm sure it would unmute at some point.
Hear you guys loud and clear.
Okay, fantastic. Welcome, welcome. So our guest is in the room already. So I'm just going to run through what Emigrate is very quickly, and then I'm going to yield the floor to Olusola Amusan. Yes, so Emigrate is incubated at the moment by Bincom Dev Center. And what is Emigrate? Emigrate is designed to help people become globally attractive. And there are two ways for you to be globally attractive from the perspective of Emigrate. The first one is for you to have a tech-enabled profile, so a globally attractive tech-enabled profile. Or you could have a globally attractive tech-enabled business, so typically a tech startup, right? Any one of these routes has many opportunities as at today. However, we sound a note of caution on the get-go that we need you to see the visa itself as a side effect of a particular objective. We need you to see that the visa itself is just a stepping stone, because there's much more that would happen right after you get the visa, because you still need to be able to add value in your host country. You still need to be able to add value to yourself and even to the world as well. However, the visa is available to you as long as you can show yourself. Visas am I speaking about? There are quite a number of them across many countries all over the world, many forward-thinking countries all over the world that have different visas that they've made available, as long as you can make yourself and show yourself as globally attractive, or you can show your business as globally attractive. Then they want you in their country because they know that you'll be able to build their economy. They know that you'll be able to add value, even if it's for you just to pay tax in that economy. However, for us at Emigrate, we are 100% focused today on tech, 100% focused on tech and tech-enabled skills. There are several other visas available for many of these countries we will speak about, and even countries that we will probably not speak about today. However, today, for us as Emigrate, we are focused on tech and tech-enabled visas. What that means is that if you are not passionate about tech, you will be frustrated. If you are not passionate about tech, you will be frustrated. However, we are not only speaking about the technical side of tech. So that's if you're a developer, you're an infrastructure person, you're a DevOps person, and so on. Not just that, there's actually a business side to tech as well. You can be a technology project manager, you can be a digital marketer, and there are several other skills, a business analyst, and so on. There are several other skills as well, where even though you are not in the technical side of the field of technology, you can still show yourself as globally attractive. There are also many in the investment side. So if you have a bit of money and all of that, and you are also investing, there are some visas that are available to you if you have money. The key thing for us is that you need to be interested in attaining global mobility. That is what we are focusing on with Emigrate. Emigrate started for us as us solving a problem. We saw a challenge that we had internally within our group of companies, and we realized that many people remained unaware of opportunities that we as founders, we as senior management and so on, were aware of, and we were sure that some of these people would qualify. It even got harder because for some of these people, when you say to them, oh, you could qualify and all of that, you sort of have to convince them that, oh, actually make a plan. Maybe it's because of the way Nigeria's policies has been, but a lot of times, many people do not realize that, oh, when they say something like exceptional talent, they can be talking about me. When they say something like, oh, global talent, they can be talking about me. And so what we've done is that we started something to help with information, to help with coaching and holding strategy, some consultation, some advisory, and also build a community around people that are looking at and planning and taking a look at these opportunities to say, oh, even if I don't qualify today, I want to make use of this opportunity. I want to take advantage of this opportunity in the near future. And so that is what Emigrate is designed to do. Where we see Emigrate in the future is that it would be its own startup. It will be its own company, and its focus will be global mobility for African founders and techies. We also are hoping to be able to help individuals become globally attractive, which is what we're already doing. But at the moment, it's incubated by Beacon Dev Center. The reason why it works is very simple, because these countries want you to come and add value. They understand the principle of value. They understand the principle of intellectual property. They understand the principle of highly skilled people. And what they want is come with your skill, come with your idea, come with your innovation, and help them build their economy. So they are not just giving away the visas. They are not just giving away some of this. They know that if you come, it will, net effect of it is going to be positive for them, because you will create jobs, you would add new ideas, you add new things across board. I know for some of us, we are here because I just want to be anywhere but in Nigeria. And for some of our audience that are from anywhere in Africa, and also those that are students and so on, also looking for ways. But we are trying to say that we want you to focus on not just becoming an immigrant, but becoming an expatriate. The difference between an immigrant and expatriate, if you check your dictionary, is that an immigrant is coming from one side of the pond, of the ocean, to the other. An expatriate is coming from the other side to the other. And the question is that, why is it so? Why are those two words, why do those two words have two different meanings? All right. And why can you not, even if the world has not caught up to it, why can you not leave Africa as an expatriate, taking your skill along and helping to, do whatever it is you want to do? So tech-enabled visas, as I mentioned earlier, if you have zero interest in digital technology, this is not the pathway for you. There are many others that are available, and I'm sure Mr. Shola today will probably speak about some other pathways in passing, but we are focused on tech-enabled pathways. And please understand that when we say things like exceptional, global talent, and so on, we are probably talking about you. And in some cases, some of us, your business itself, your startup may become not just your visa, but your ticket as well. If you can, your startup may end up buying the ticket for you to even relocate, if you do the right things and if you have the right skills and you are globally attractive. Some of the available tech-enabled pathways and visas are the ones that are listed right here. You can take a quick screenshot of it, but we've spoken about quite a number of these visas in the past editions of Emigrate Open Days. You can take a look at some of those videos, but today we'll be focusing on North America. And we also are hoping that, I mean, at the end of today's session, you would also have an answer to what should I be doing now? Regardless of what level you are, whether you are just getting into tech, you already have intermediate skill, or you've been 10 years, 15 years in the field of technology. We're hoping you will leave with that answer to say, these are some of the things I'm supposed to be doing, and so on. Bear in mind that there are visas available for you as an individual, right? And there are some available for you as an individual, but because you are the founder or you're a senior executive of a tech-enabled business. And so depending on what you are focusing on, depending on what field you are, and so on, will determine which ones would work for you. Emigrate, we do a lot of things for free at Emigrate, including we have a community called the Emigrate community. We run the monthly open day, but we do have some premium services as well, like the Emigrate Circle. With the Emigrate community, we are currently not able to host conversation all the time and so on. With the Emigrate Circle, we do that. We also have some consultation services and so on, one of them being the personalized consultation. What we try to do with Emigrate is coaching you in the direction you need to go, coaching in terms of some of the things you need, depending on what level you are. For example, if you are ready to submit your application and you need someone to take a look at it, or someone to help you understand how should I package this application, some of the Emigrate services will be available for you. We have the personalized service, we have the standard service, and we have the Emigrate premium service, which is my own favorite because it's a 1 to 2 year program where we handhold you from beginner level or whatever level you are to a point where you would qualify. Qualifying itself requires you to do a lot of things, but it's important for you to know what those things are, and then you being able to start planning your way and your journey to getting there. And so if you're interested in any of those, the links up there will be available for you. One of the things we do in Emigrate that we do for free at this point in time, with the support of our guests like Shola that's on the call today, is the Emigrate Open Day, where we try and share experiences and we bring people that have taken the journey, people that have information and all of that, to share that information with you. And none of our guests collects any fee, at least not as at this point in time, because they are just doing it in their own volition as well. And we would like to say a big thank you to our guests today, and also by extension to the guests that we've had in the last few editions of Emigrate Open Day. Our guest today is Olusola Amusan, and I'm sure he will introduce himself and tell you a bit more about his journey. And hopefully you will learn a lot from his journey. And I hope that would also help you start developing your own plan. Emigrate Circle is available in case you want that. Some of the things that we also have in terms of Bincom is the Bincom mentoring platform. One of the ways for many of us that are already 10 years in, we have a lot of experience in the field of tech. One of the ways that you can show yourself as globally attractive is mentoring. But if you want to take a look at mentoring, it is not just any kind of informal mentoring. Mentoring it's required for it to count. It's required to be a formal mentoring process. And that's something that Bincom has recently just launched, which is the Bincom mentoring platform. And so if you have the level of experience and you believe that you can help some other people in the field of tech, we are inviting you to join that. And the link is on the screen. We also have the Bincom Global Tech Program. And this is a 1 to 2 year program for people that are just getting into the field of tech, or people that are already in and also require experience and exposure. What this program does is it has 3 major pillars. It helps you to learn skills, gain experience, and also to gain exposure over a period of 1 to 2 years. And what happens is that you are able to, at the end of that journey, you are able to already come out with a fantastic resume. You're able to come out qualifying for some of these visas that we are speaking about, and so on. The cost of the program is 1.2 million naira, but it gets more interesting because the company is saying that, oh, we will give you an income sharing agreement that you don't have to pay now. You can pay when you start earning a high salary in the field of technology. If you're interested in that, the link is also on the screen. And I will mention that the Emigrate Premium I mentioned earlier is actually incorporated into this program by itself. And so if you're interested in any of those services I mentioned, please don't hesitate to fill the form. So I've taken a lot of the time, and so I'm going to yield now to Shola Amusan, who is going to be taking over from us and taking over today's edition and today's journey. He's going to be speaking for about 20 to 30 minutes. And then remember I mentioned that if you have questions, please drop it in the chat because we will take those questions first before we then yield the floor. And if we don't have any more time, then so be it as well. So thank you so much, Shola. Over to you. I'll stop sharing now.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Fantastic.
Awesome. I mean, look, just sharing those very inspiring thoughts about the way you see emigrate, and more importantly, the way you see all the talents that are on this call today is very, very inspiring. And I see there's a lot of parallels between what we do actually, both in my day job as CEO at Coven Works, where I'm AI practice lead, as well as in the Move Me in 12 work that I've been doing for the past year. I see a lot of similarities, and I'm glad that we're able to serve this audience very well. I feel strongly that one of the most significant talents pools in the world will be from the continent of Africa. And that for Nigeria, when we can't manage our realities anymore, as much as I won't push this into a social political conversation, when we can't manage our realities anymore, the only thing we will be able to at least be able to boast of is the fact that we're able to export talents to the world. Whether it's because of hardship, whether it's because of the drive that comes from like severe, economic hardship and all of that, Nigerians will continue to be the kind of people that can have that also spirit, to do what needs to be done. And when you look at the analysis of the $23 billion that Nigerians sent home in remittances in 2019, and the fact that that's half of the entire oil derivative for that year, we made about 42 billion that year, and half of that amount was also sent home. Now imagine if Nigerians, all of the people in this room today, are able to take themselves out of, the point of survival, have these technology skills, become experts all over the world, and can now build their dreams. They can now send, imagine if these remittances were intentional. Most of them are just, I'm helping my brother, I'm helping my uncle. Imagine if it was like intentional. If whenever you made $120,000 a year, you were going to put maybe half of that in building like a city or a technology infrastructure or
even
whatever,
10%,
social capital.
just
whatever.
pay tithe back to Nigeria.
Or exactly, or even just pay tithes back to Nigeria, Not like Nigeria deserves it from the standpoint of what people have gone through. But what is Nigeria? Nigeria is not a place. Nigeria is not even the people. Nigeria is just somewhere in our minds, the fact that we're able to accept that these people who are living between this latitude and longitude have accepted to call themselves Nigeria. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I keep telling people, those of you who might be on this call today that are still very patriotic, I want you to remain patriotic, but I want to tell you very, very strongly that if you were not born in a country called Nigeria, if you were born pre-independence, you won't call it Nigeria. It was just, a colony. It was just Ibadan. It was just Oyo. It was just Enugu, right? So what is this attachment that is so important, that is far more important than your potential, that is much more important than your sanity, that is much more important than your success and the fact that you can help, other people. So having said that, I know Mr. Badi has also, created a very solid foundation around just helping you realize that you, when we say exceptional talent, global talent, that could be you. That could be you. So I will start by telling my story because I have some time. And sometimes some of the way you feel after this session might be more important than what you remember as bullet points. Because if you feel with the energy and you can get some energy from here that allows you to go and do something, that might be what some of you need. Although for some other people, they can get in that euphoria and not remember the specific steps the person asked them to take. So I will attempt to do a balance of both. All right. But it's important for me to tell you my story and remind you that I'm not a child of, a senator or the president or someone who has a name. You probably haven't heard about any other Amusan except maybe a pastor. You get what I mean? So I don't come from a pedigree that is like very significant, but I made sure and I'm making sure that my names will be remembered. My name will be remembered in the sands of time, that I will do things that will be remembered. Okay. And part of doing that is just making up my mind that I wanted to do global stuff. I wanted to change the world. I wanted to add up my own components to connect to the world. And Nigeria wasn't enabling me to do that. So real quickly, while I was when I was in the university, I was one of those people that were being taught 477, for a computer science degree, and nothing was going to happen. Like the best thing I could do was basically write a CGPA calculator, and that's the year that Facebook released the first version and all of that. And I was like, this is a year two student of a university who has built this. What can I do with my Fortran 77 and COBOL? So we gathered ourselves together and created a group called the Software Developers Research Initiative for Nigeria. And that Software Developers Research Initiative for Nigeria then became that software developer. Sorry, guys, I forgot to spotlight myself so that you guys can see a larger picture. I just remembered now. So that organization then became a group that enabled us, me and my friends, to learn C#, to learn other, languages, VB.NET at the time, understand .NET framework. We brought Opera Campus group to our campus. We brought we brought Google Developer Group. We brought Microsoft Student Partner Group, and we started teaching ourselves what our lecturers were not teaching us. We trained about 4,600 of our colleagues on information technology. So essentially, that was really, really, helping to set a new pace for us and for our lives. So it was from there I volunteered with the university to work on a World Bank project after school. They retained me to do some of the work. I didn't graduate with first class. I finished with a 2.2. There's nothing to be proud about there, but I'm trying to let you know, in case there's someone in this room today who needs that level of encouragement, to know that you don't even have to be a first class student to do some of these things that maybe Shola is doing today and the other people are doing. So I finished the 2.2, but the university gave me awards because of my leadership, volunteering. You can't have double jeopardy. You have to be useful for something. If you are not able to be a scholar, at least be an hustler. So they knew that, okay, scholar and hustler, and they kind of sound alike. So I was the hustler, even though I started as a scholar, but because I got disinterested in that education system, I couldn't go on with it. But I was traveling for conferences, events, and all of that. So the year I graduated, I started pursuing global opportunities. Travel to Ghana. That was my first trip out of Nigeria. If you have not left Nigeria, at least go to Ghana. Just take a short trip. Go by bus if you can't afford flights. Go to MEST. Go to Meltwater School of Entrepreneurial Technology. Go to what's the name of these guys? Makerspace. I've forgotten. Go around, meet the tech ecosystem there. Just spend a few days just learning about what's going on there. 2 years earlier, I had attempted to go to the United States. I won an award, which basically was called the Global Student Entrepreneur Awards. But the person in charge of the program would not even get me a visa date. So I didn't go. So you see, my quest for this started about 10, 11 years ago. I just wanted to be able to go global. Not because I wanted to go abroad, to just say, let's just go abroad. No, I figured that what I needed for my relevance, I realized early that what I needed was not going to be around here. So eventually, after I had gone for that, that Ghana program, volunteered there, made them see my, passion and vision. From there, they got me an opportunity to represent the organization in a conference in Germany. And that was my first time in Europe. So I went to Germany, saw these 20-year-old guys that humbled me so much, because I was like, so people are doing this. It changed my worldview. I remember coming back and entering bus in Lagere, Ileife. I'd be like, am I back? So I'm back like that. A couple of people ran away from there, but I knew what my vision was. And I'm not saying that anybody who has run away, maybe they are the one who know, they are the one who actually know what choices were available to them. But part of the choice available to me then was that I wasn't ready to lose my freedom. So I wasn't going to be running around Europe. So I came back to Nigeria. And that same year, it was the toughest year, 2014, because I had come back, I had seen what could be, and now that thing is not. So I kept applying to jobs. I applied to Google, applied to Oracle, got a few interviews, and I applied to Microsoft. So when I applied to Microsoft, so keep very good friends. One of my friends was an intern at Microsoft, came into the office one day, didn't look at my side at all in my university campus office where I was working. He didn't look at my side. He just told another friend that, hey, look, there's somebody that there's a job position, and I think it's this guy that should apply. Not me, not referring to me. Another third friend of ours, who is actually in the United Kingdom right now, is a tech nation guy in the UK now said, Shola should be the one that should be doing this role. I believe in this guy. He can do it. I mean, I have friends that can vouch for you. He just started laughing hysterically. Say, Shola, this is you. Even me, I didn't realize that was me they were talking about in that role. They were reading the job description. Shola, this is you they are talking about. Hysterically. That's how he laughs. Anytime he wants to talk about believing him, it's like, he was just laughing. Shola, no, this is you. And that was how I applied. Did the interview for 5 months. 5 solid months. One from one recruiter, from one hiring manager to another, to another, to another. It took time. They wanted to start it by July 1st. Later, I realized this. They wanted the role to start by July 1st. This was around April or so. It didn't start until October. So I moved into that role, and that was the life-changing opportunity for me, because I would stay in that role for another 5 years. Visit France, Sweden, France is Paris, Denmark, Germany, visit the United States, go around the world on Microsoft's bill, So that was already now. So my goal, my quest for being global, I started showing like that. And then eventually in 2018, I started getting really tired of that role. So I created a startup called Coven Works, incorporated it in the United States. Actually, in 2016, I had incorporated a company that I felt God was telling me to create, because I get inspiration to be able to do those kind of things. I know what your faith persuasion is, but I had gone down to register Curators Interactive as a university, which I'm still working on now. We're at the stage of clearing the site and doing all of that 5 years after. But I just obeyed then and registered that company, and that introduced me to a company called Stripe Atlas, which today I don't really encourage many people to try and use Stripe Atlas, but that was the entry point then for many of us. And some people are still using it today. But knowing more now, you're like, I'm not sure I'll give my money to these guys. Anyways, I had registered Creators Interactive in the United States, and I registered another company in 2018, which would now be what I would do as a company that's focused on artificial intelligence and data science, and also recruiting engineers for companies that are in the West. So I started doing all of that. And a year after, when I had gotten some traction, it occurred to me that, wow, this is actually the time to leave. This is actually the time to leave Microsoft. I was on 18 million salary a year. It was completely insensible. I was going to get like small, better senior manager roles and all of that, but it just appeared insensible. But I knew what my goal was, and I knew this was the time to be able to take on this opportunity. So I got into an accelerator, which really sparked this up in the United States, traveled, came to the accelerator, went on and on with that. And then eventually I came back to Nigeria, and I'm like, what do I need to do? I wanted to stay behind again, to say, maybe I should just stay behind. I rented a place for my wife for like 6 months because we're having a baby around the time. I was like, should I stay? I spoke to a few mentors. They were like, you know what? I said, maybe I should be going and coming back. My wife should stay. My wife was like, no. She also won't trade her freedom for that. Whatever you need to do. I thought it was really silly of her then, though, because I'm like, somebody's going to give you opportunity, rented the house for you, and you're like, well, apparently she understood. And she said, sometimes those of you who might be married here, we might not see our wife as a complete human being. Some of us see our wife as an addendum to us. So we forget that she also has a life, has her choices, has other things. Don't let me lie to you. These are things I'm just realizing 5 years into marriage. At least I'm like, this is it. This woman is somebody on her own. You count marriage as if they should just follow you the entire way. You know what I'm saying? So she wouldn't agree anyway. So she went back to Nigeria, and then I had to find what other opportunities exist. And this was when a mentor spoke to me and said, so first, a friend that me and Buddy share actually right now, actually reached out to me. Who introduced us now. Reached out to me. I was like, he just moved to the US. And then he sent me a long message to explain. And then he links me up with his lawyer. But then I didn't do anything about it because they said it was going to take 8 months or 9 months to get on the EB1 program. So another mentor who had now just relocated to the US now came to me and said, Shola, there are pathways. Have you not heard about this exceptional talent visa? I said, they've told me about it. They said, don't even worry. I have a lawyer that I know who is based in Texas, where I live, who can work with you on this. And that this one will come out within 2 months. So it was during the 2019 presidential election. I left Nigeria to go to Ghana because I didn't want to be around for that election. Call me unpatriotic, that's your business. 4 years earlier, My wife had been accosted at gunpoint on the day of the election. They took our car. They left us with trauma. I was leaving for the US 2 days after. She was alone with a child. It was bad. No, we don't have any children. We didn't have any children then. That was early 2015. We had just gotten married, just a few months after we got married. So left alone with that trauma and everything like that. Now, so 4 years later, I wasn't going to be in Nigeria for any damn election. Like it wasn't I'm like, no. So I left for Ghana. The day I was leaving for Ghana, which is what should tell you why I'm doing what I'm doing. The day I was leaving for Ghana, I felt God's spirit telling me that Atakoro wonuado kulimomo ewobe. If you don't understand Yoruba, it's okay. It means that the powerful, herbalist or powerful person who can run into a small guard, a tiny guard, cannot carry his entire family into it. Do you know what happened that night I arrived in Ghana? My parents were robbed for 4 solid hours in their home. For 4 solid hours, that same election period. So it was that time I did the call with my lawyer. See the push factor. I did the call with that lawyer. I said, what can we do? She said, you can get it in 3 months. I said, really? And this was February, that election that was postponed. That was that time. So eventually I started the process. I did a lot of documentation for this US 01 visa. And then from there, within 9 days after I submitted, my petition was out. I got a work permit. I'm giving you this testimonial so that you can know the length of what is possible. I gathered my document within a 2-3 months period, and then they submitted, and in 9 days, the visa was out. And then the rest is history, because from there I converted to, the EB1, green card, and all those kind of things like that. So I am telling you what is possible. I got to the United States, organized artificial intelligence meetups like crazy, met up with people, spoke at universities. I wasn't here as an immigrant running around wondering whether the police is chasing me. This time around, I was here settled, understanding, being able to rent a house, got credit cards, got social security, be able to do the things that your heart truly desires. And today, I have friends, I have so many people who have gone through the same pathway. And similar to what you guys are doing at Bincom and Emigrate, I have a group of people, 8,000 of them, that I'm supporting for like the next year to position them to be able to move abroad. Many of these guys are moving through other pathways other than technology. But for those of you in tech, I'm here to tell you categorically today that this is your way. This is your pathway. Nothing is stopping you. You have to do this. You have to make it happen. The startup funding I got, the investment I got in that accelerator was only $25,000. So there's some of you here who, I've read about O1 visa. I've read about the Canadian startup visa, but I don't have money. There's something else you have. You have the ability to stay on Coursera for the next 4 weeks, just learning machine learning. You have the ability to get into the Bincom program, pay later. Come on now. We initiated a program this year that is, we are focused on data science and AI at CovenWorks. It's like me and you were dreaming the same idea, because that's exactly what we just started this year. So I don't know when you started it, but I didn't even know Bincom does that. We started it this year. The program should cost you 1 million naira, but we charge only 200,000 naira, and then you sign a profit sharing. We actually call it a job bond. So you share a job bond. You sign a job bond that you will pay the remaining 800,000 once we get you a job. And if you get that job by yourself, we will not collect the money. But if we are the one who linked you into the job, we're gonna still get the money back. So I didn't even know you were doing that. So I am just so passionate, because now that I've seen the way, I'm like, we can get many more people to take on this opportunity. As I was saying, you can get into the Bincom program. You can. That's what you can do. What you can't do as of today is that you don't have the 25,000, you don't have the 14,000 to file. But what you can do is that you can learn those skills that will make the UK to see you as an exceptional talent, that will make Canada to see you as an exceptional talent. You can create the MVP of that startup with a computer in your hands and then take it into an accelerator. Once you get into an accelerator, the only thing different about Canada is that they will ask you for a proof of fund still, even if you're going into an accelerator. So, and if you just take the proof of funds and then you get into an accelerator, that's it. They're going to give residency. Don't worry. I'm narrating it briefly now in case somebody loses internet and has to go. I'm still going to share my screen and take you to the websites where you will see the exact, criteria. So Canada has that opportunity, and none of this is asking for your own cash right now. None of it. What about the one where you actually just pay attention to the skills you have? And as you pay attention to the skills you have, you can actually use LinkedIn to find companies that are willing to file H-1B for people. I am telling you, I've seen people who emigrated themselves to the United States by just demonstrating their skills, teaching online courses, volunteering to teach online courses, contributing severely to open source projects, and people just found them, startups found them, and startups decided to file for them. So for North America, as of today, United States, Canada, very obvious. Mexico has its own programs as well, but let's just say United States and Canada, they are very, very obvious. And the obvious things there is that both of them have a startup visa. The US startup visa is intentionally diversified into media, arts, technology, so business in general. It's called the O1A, the O1B, and then the O1A for TV, television, media, for anybody who is in that kind of field, right? And then the Canadian visa as the startup visa that focuses on if you get venture capital investment up to $75,000, if you get into an accelerator, the accelerator, they don't even have a specific amount, but typically it's around 50,000, and the accelerator will be willing to give. So they have all those clear procedures. All you need to do is to distinguish yourself. What are we saying about distinguishing yourself? We are saying that if you find 10 open source projects to contribute to within the next 3 months, that's what we're saying. By the time they say list out all your publications, by the time they are printing out pages of code, do you know that for the O1 visa in the US, they literally can print out your source code just to be able to demonstrate that you have that much value? What about writing in a tech blog? What about making a publication? My younger brother wrote a book. I wish I had it here. It's called Introduction to Python. Introduction to Python. He studied English language in the university and came to our tech program and then became an instructor and then wrote a book on Introduction to Python. Tiny pamphlet like this. Do you know, because I'm a co-author of the book, do you know the doors that book has opened? So it's important for you to be able to understand that the guy who came from Modaika in Osun State, that's where I'm from, son of a teacher, grew up. I did not come to Lagos until 2009. Now it looks really far behind now, but I didn't come to Lagos until 2009. As an adult, I'd come as a child, but as an adult, I'd not come to Lagos until 2009. So those of you who grew up in Lagos, you should be sharper with this opportunity. I know many people, because of pandemic and Zoom now, people call from all over the country. But I remember from Akure, I would go to the US consulates to go and attend workshops. One of those days, I traveled for 4 hours to get to Lagos, attended the workshop for 15 minutes, and then took another 4 hours to come back. It's crazy. So there are two that I'm going to be focusing on, right? There are two that I'm going to be focusing on. And the first one, so I see this a lot in external programs. When it's my program, I won't say it, but because it's not my program, I'm going to say it. So when I see people like you, Samuel Chuku, when you go on and go like, please, no time, tell us how we are confused, it is extremely annoying and it pisses me off. And when I do it on my own program, I can't tell people that because I don't want to be. But on this program, it's baddest program, I can tell you and call your bluff off. That is wrong. And you need to stop it. All right? Because there are other people in the session who don't care about the fact that you don't want to hear the stories that I'm sharing. And out of respect, you shouldn't be telling me that. You get that now? Regardless of who you are. All right, so let's go into it, guys.
Let me apologize on his behalf. I was going to say
yes, there are people who don't know, but they have met so many people. I know what I'm saying. On YouTube, there are plenty. They can do that, but this is even a closed Zoom session why you shouldn't be saying that kind of thing. Come on. So, guys, it's important you are able to understand these pathways. And those who are smart are listening to be able to pick what they need to pick. So let's take a look at the Canadian startup visa and take your time to listen carefully so you can ask the questions around what are those intricacies that are important. Because I've seen somebody that we've explained some of these to who kept applying to just one accelerator for 3-4 years and he couldn't go anywhere. So there are certain intricacies that once you pay attention to it, you'll be able to gain even much more. So give me a moment and I'll share my screen. Share my screen. Okay. So most of the things you're going to get from the from the Canadian, government and programs would usually, you need to be sure where the authority is coming from, because there are lots of people out there who are actually like agents and stuff, and then they will go on and create websites that are similar, and then at the end of the day, you won't be able to, pick which one is right. At the end of the day, what they want to sell is their business. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the fundamental thing for your startup visa to Canada, and as of today, I have one or two persons who have active cases who are trying to make this transition, and quite a number of people already based there, right? You need a successful candidates. You will need to receive a letter of support from a government designated entity. Now, this is important, not just some Nigerian accelerator or some Nigerian company or some Nigerian guy who wants to help you, or you have money and you want to quickly arrange it. Nigerians look for all kinds of shortcuts. But here, there are specific government designated entities. There's a list of them. All right. Angel investor groups, venture capital fund, business incubator. So if you're in the Beacon program right now, you are in Emigrate program and you have been learning technology already, but you don't feel that you have entrepreneurial tendencies, you might want to consider teaming up with one or two persons to just pick a very significant problem that has global context, that is not just focused on Nigeria. And then that's what you create a startup around. Now, the government designated entity is primarily responsible to determine the viability of your application, and your intended business, and then present an approved project along with a commitment certificate to the immigration authorities. So they have a way of doing all that. They've done it, particularly organizations that are popular. They've done it for a few people already. Now, first you must have a qualifying business. So usually for this startup visa, as you know, a startup, if even in the definition of a startup, even those people think that startups generally apply to all types of businesses, but a startup is really a technology business that is set up to scale. That's really like the definition. This business is set up to scale. It's set up to grow really fast. So you must understand that numbers are important when it comes to this. So having a qualifying business, you obtain a commitment from a designated entity in the form of a commitment certificate or a letter of support. Okay, then have sufficient unencumbered, available, and transferable. So these people think that this is out of it as well, but it's actually part of it. The settlement funds is part of it, except that if it's just you can see now, if it's just you, it's 12,000, 13,000 Canadian dollars. If it's two of you, 16,000 Canadian dollars. If you have a family, but nobody is collecting this money from you. It's just in your bank account as proof of funds. And today is not the day to discuss proof of funds, but there are several very smart ways that people are going about it now, because you just can't. If the economy were good and people had all this money lying around, some of them will not consider traveling. The fact that they want to move, there is a correlation between that and them not having these funds, which is why I tell people that Canada is a little technical. People just think that because they're very popular with their migration program, it means it's easy. But it's technical, because the guy who knows IELTS is not involved in this. So for now, for now, we've not gotten to that. When I get to IELTS, I'll talk about it. But for the guys, for certain guys, they've forgotten that to have IELTS correct, have money correct, have age correct, have all of that correct is not a very easy combination. The person that has money is above 40. The guy that is below 40, that is below 30 does not have money. So it's a very, very stringent combination. But if you're privileged that you have that combination working right, then you know that Canada is the pathway to go. So number 4 is that this guy has to demonstrate, now we're now there, has to demonstrate sufficient proficiency in English or French through standardized testing. So it's Canadian language benchmark level 5. So essentially for this one, the only advantage is that unlike federal skill worker, where they require you to be like 8.0 and above or something, or academic, where they require like at least 7 to 7.5, even if you don't have a high score here, it shows that you have sufficient proficiency. That's something. Now, for the commitment, the designated angel investment group must confirm that it's investing about 75 Canadian dollars into the qualifying business, or 2 or more commitments from a designated angel investor group totaling that same amount. A designated venture group must confirm, so if it's a venture capital fund, that they are giving about $200,000 to you into the qualifying business. Now, before you, in your mind, close your mind and say, all these monies, how are we going to do it? The key thing here, and I will get there, your own key responsibility is to gain the skill and build the solution. Then you will now apply to 20 to 30. Write it down, don't forget. I didn't say 2, I didn't say 3, I didn't say 4, I didn't even say 10, 20 to 30 of those accelerators. Not just copying and pasting the same thing. No. You will diligently apply to those places because, as I've said, you can't do both. You don't have money, you have to be humble. If you have money now, you can say, do you understand? So one has to have both. So if I don't have change to do this thing, I have to hustle it out. And what's the hustle? Staying up awake at night, writing those applications, calling mentors, asking for referrals, getting people on your board, announcing in newspapers, all of those kind of things are things you need to do. So a designated business incubator, this is the only one that has no amount. If it's an incubator that is picking you up, which is why I said it's not as difficult as you might be imagining. If an incubator like Techstars is picking you up, you've heard of certain organizations recently that just got accepted into Techstars, like Talent QL, they can use the basis of that to get into the United Kingdom if they need it. All right. Now, in order to qualify, of course, the business you are starting, it can't be a business that you have only 6%. So you must have at least 10% of voting rights, and no other person should hold more than 50% or more of the voting rights in the corporation. This is just to make sure that the interest of those people who are investing in you is secure. Now, again, what you're trying to get at that point is that you're trying to receive a work permit. There are two pathways. You can be trying to receive a work permit, or you can be trying to receive a permanent residence. And these are the two qualifications. For the work permit, you need a letter of support from a designated entity, which we have said earlier. Then prove that you have sufficient funds to meet the low income cutoff, which has been designated for 1 year. Then to receive permanent residency, you must be actively involved in the management of the business within Canada. So after you've gotten work permits, and you've gotten the work permit for about a year or two, if you got the work permit and you traveled back home to Nigeria, and you're running about in Nigeria, you're not part of what's going on in Canada, your name is not on the tax filing, you're not doing all of that, it will be difficult for you to convert it into permanent residence in Canada. The operation of the business or an essential part must take place in Canada. So if you're running a business that you're not going to be building the tech in Canada, you're not interested, you are still very patriotic, then this would affect your setting up and converting into residence. The business must be incorporated in Canada. This is a no-brainer. So there are two things that you can do now, 3 things that you can do as of today. 3 things. The first one is that you can set up your company in Canada. That's one thing. It will not, I don't think Canada business registration as of today is up to $1,000. I don't think so. So with some, maybe even half of that, because even the United States won't take that much from you, depending on if you're doing it yourself or you're filing through a business agent, right? So get your business registered in Canada, even as a student of the income, even as a student of this emigrate, even as a young person. Don't be part of this that say, I will not be paying taxes. I will not be doing this. I will not be doing that. This is the sacrifice that you need to pay for your eventual, success. So, I mean, as Chukwu has said, nobody needs convincing, I guess. So it has to be part of you. You must be ready for it. So when you're done with that, then create your pitch deck. Create your pitch deck even if your product is still at idea stage, because there are actually idea level accelerators. Then essentially you call them incubators. Then as soon as that is out, your pitch deck will continue to be a living document until any day, anytime. You will transform into even when you're going IPO, you will still pitch to investors, right? So your pitch deck will always be with you. And then from there, create an MVP of your product. Don't try to build an Airbnb in one day. Don't try to build a PayPal in one day. Just create a product that shows the proof of the concept that you are trying to work on. And then the proof of concept is going to be enough to be able to apply. Now, there is a list of the designated venture fund. This is a 2020 list. There's also a designated list of angel investor groups. There's also a designated, list of business incubators all over this place that you can take on. So it's important. I mean, this company, as I've said, they want to take a free assessment so you can already qualify, and they can bombast you with emails on whether you should come and start now and all of that. But this is a page worthy of checking because it gives you at least the necessary amount of information, that you can basically see. Now, also, if you check out the popular CIC .gc.ca, these ones are government websites. It's like .gov.ng or like .gov. Or just .gov. The US doesn't use .gov.com because they're the originator of all those top level domains. So they just held on to .gov right away. So if you check out, your cic.gc.ca, I don't know why it's running a search, a Yahoo search. You should go to the website itself, not a search, which is basically like the, Canadian immigration website itself. There are other specific details as well that explain about for some reason it is not resolving. Okay, it is resolving now. Anyways, so that's supposed to show you that's the entire, immigration website across board, not just like on startup alone, but Canada is very good at documenting all the requirements that you're going to need for anything that you're trying to do. They're really quite good at it, and in that's quite impressive. So that is the startup visa. And I know you would have specific questions on that, and I'm going to take them. However, for those of you who don't feel like, you've heard things like, is it possible for you to get a job in Canada while you're in Nigeria? I'm going to start first with yes, this is the website. I'm going to start with the background. And the main background, my friends, is that Canada doesn't have as much job opportunities as the United States. So because it doesn't have as much job opportunities as the United States, the population is small, about 33 million people. They are protecting the jobs that are in Canada for the permanent residents, which you will soon become as well. But for now, you are not. So they have to provide those jobs for those who are already permanent residents, that they have promised that when you get to Canada, in 3 months, you will find a job. So there is this perception that, jobs, Canada, because in their policy, their jobs policy, they've informed all employers that before you can hire somebody externally, right, you must check within the country, first of all, whether there are people who can do that job or not. So because of that, if you are applying directly to a Canadian employer's website, chances are you might not be hired. But if you position your LinkedIn profile, if you position your recruiter relationship, if you go on and activate LinkedIn Premium for just like 3 months and say, I will invest this $45 times 3 on myself, there's a chance that you can be headhunted because of your specific skills. Now, it is the responsibility of the Canadian employer to then demonstrate, whether by hook or crook, to their own government that we have done everything to find, we couldn't find. That's why we hired this guy. So because I have friends who have moved to Siemens in Canada, who have moved to Microsoft in Canada from Nigeria, and they didn't use Express Entry. They used the job. In fact, they eventually used Express Entry, but it was the letter of employment from the jobs that skyrocketed their Express Entry score. So you can position yourself as well. Also, there are startups. There are startups as well who are still smaller companies. They hire only maybe 10 people, maybe co-founded by a Nigerian, or somebody who is looking for cheap labor, or relatively cheaper labor. Don't let us say cheap labor, relatively affordable labor. And he knows that if he hires a Canadian, we have to pay the person $70,000. The person can say they want to hire you at least above the minimum wage, which will be maybe 35,000, 40,000 Canadian dollars, and bring you to Canada eventually, or at least give you that employment letter for you to add to your federal skill worker profile in your Express Entry portal. Anybody who's interested in migration, that all of this jargon I'm saying, he doesn't know about it. That person is not interested yet too, because I expect that you have watched several webinars. I have a lot of free ones as well. You have watched several webinars that explain Express Entry, CRS calculator, all of those kind of things. If you are really keen about it, you are tired of NEPA taking light, internet access not working, security problem, traffic, hold up, low wage, all of that. Low wage is the problem of many of us. I mean, it was my problem when I was in Nigeria as well, because my colleagues in Microsoft outside Nigeria were getting paid way more, but I wasn't. Low wage. The website, I used to design website for 250,000 naira. That time gone, it was considered expensive. That's like 400. I can't design any website that's less than $5,000 now. I can't. You understand what I'm saying? So you can position yourself as well, and then you can still be hired if you are headhunted. That's the point I'm trying to make with that. Also, if you take on some of these courses, you can get into education programs. Education programs like, master's program, PhD programs, research fellowships based on your knowledge of technology. So when it comes to tech or Tolaye, you're not like the other guys. So when they say, oh, Canada doesn't hire people like that, don't worry, they will make exception for technology. When you are the only blockchain solidity person around, what would they do that is free out of all the people that are applying? There's a shortage of AI consultants all over the United States right now. There are plenty of engineers, but they don't know business. There are plenty business people, they don't know AI. So you need a combination of both. So there are things like data scientists are in massive demand, software engineers, UI testers. They're in massive software testers, UI UX people. They're in massive demand all over Europe and America. So let's take a pause. Let's take a pause from Canada a little and talk a little about the United States. And maybe we're getting to the point where we, answering some questions as well. I don't know. Are we getting close?
So I wanted to just ask for more time because it looks like we're going to go way over time for today's edition. So can we look at maybe an extra 30 minutes to 40 minutes?
Particularly when we have questions. That's true.
Yeah.
So for the United States, I've talked about the O1 visa, which is it's a broad category visa for people that are of exceptional ability, but it's easier for technology people to demonstrate it. Number one reason is because tech is considered exceptional. Number two reason is because the people who actually approve these things are government workers. Because they're government workers, many of them don't know too much about when you say you are building this, you are building that. They're just like, he's a coder. They're just going to approve. I found it really weird that Americans call programs like coders. I know that I found it really weird. But these days, I also, try to use that language. So they're always a coder. Oh, you're a coder? That's good. They're just going to pass you and let you go, So the O1 visa, the challenge with it is that to be able to file for it is not too expensive because if you are self-petitioning. But because of the intricacy and how much documentation you have to put together, many people have to use lawyers. And in using lawyers, the least I've seen is about $8,500 plus your filing fees and all of that. If you are doing premium, which is the one I said comes out in 9 days. But if you want to do the one that comes out in 3 months, 6 months, you can remove 2,500 from that 8,500. But many of you as well, many people will need consultants, which is like somebody who works with them over a 6 months period to make sure that they have the right newspaper articles, that they have the right that it can drive your price to as much as 14,000. And usually it's very mature people or people who succeeded early in terms of cash. Success is not defined only in terms of cash. But those, because I know a 27-year-old who I'm working with right now, he didn't care. He was just going to pay for the entire thing plus the consultant and all of that. But there might be some of you who are like, you know what, I'm going to have to put this money together. So you want to reduce your fees by not paying premium, and then you want to reduce your fees by not using a lawyer. And that in itself is scary because you are not sure how things are going to go, because in this case you are the employer for the O1. You create your own company and you're using your company to file for yourself. So there's no advice. There's nobody to support you. Unlike if you do the Canadian startup visa where the accelerator that is inviting you, all of those other people, even though you still champion most of the things you are doing. You see all those agents, like people that call themselves agents in Nigeria, want nothing as far as this is concerned. So they can't even help you. If they collect 1 million, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. So it's a few people who have moved, who understand the process that can say, okay, this and this. But I'm telling you today, very, very, I say unto you, you can get this thing done without paying a dime. But I low blood there. You're going to sweat, you're going to work on it, you seek advice where necessary, you talk to people, you do all of that, and it will work. But if you are not sure that you can do that, then also get some more money, then present it, to somebody who can help you, because it's not every, I stopped confusing what is easy for me for what is easy at all. The fact that it's easy for me doesn't mean it's easy for other people. Some people can write their own reference letters. And in this process, you have to get like 8 reference letters from like mentors, top people in society. My wife tells me not to be mentioning the name of clients and people who have done this, but maybe it's because of today now, because it's still fresh in my mind, I won't mention. But there are lots of the mentors and brothers, egmons that You are there being patriotic. Yes, it's good. Look, I've done more things in Nigeria today than I did when I was in Nigeria. I've done more things for Nigeria. And I still come back multiple times every year, even though my family doesn't approve of it. I still come back multiple times every year to do what I need to do because I still believe Nigeria has a future. It's just that I can't use my lifetime to test that future. Because my father was in his late 30s. He was in his early 30s when they gave birth to me. And he carried me on the bike. He carried me on the bike, during MQ Abiola's annulment. So it's taking him his entire lifetime. How much strength does he have now to be able to see a future that is not guaranteed? But for yourself to even remove yourself out of the situation of Nigeria and go and do more. So let's start moving into questions gradually, because some of the things you're going to ask in questions will bring out some of the other things I wanted to explain. But I am certain as well that these technology courses you are taking, I see UI UX people, I see sysops and DevOps people, I see all of that. Many of you don't know, you're qualified for a master's and PhD program right now, sponsored, all expense paid, and you don't need to be a scholar, meaning that you don't need to have graduated with the first class. There are schools all over. It's only 10 schools that many of us know. If it's not Harvard, it's Yale, Stanford, the popular ones. But there are over 4,000 universities in the United States. And the funding is amazing, particularly for technology. Don't be like the ungrateful people who will say, sir, I got half funding. Is there a way I can get full funding? Do you know? Otigba funding. The remaining, pay installments. Ask them for installment. And when you get to the US, work your backside out for the 20 hours a week they give you on your stuff. Don't be there. If you are really keen about it, you won't be waiting for the day you get full scholarship. Am I saying it's wrong to get full scholarship? I have a protege who had 9 admissions. And I asked her to come to Texas by fire by force. She said, no, the schools in Texas, UTA, gave her funding. She's eventually going to be going to Kentucky. And she goes to Kentucky and they basically gave her 100% there. So some of you have these tech skills now. You can write great proposals about what you will do. Some professors are looking for those who know programming, not academic people. They want people who can implement those things for them, who actually know how to build stuff. I took a course in my AI masters. I took a course, and that course I took, the lecturer was trying to use AI to teach us AI. Do you understand? So one of his assistants built one e-learning system. Brother, that e-learning system is terrible. Kò ní UI, kò ní UX, and that's what they taught us. They used to teach like 40 of us throughout the semester. So if they had someone who had done UI UX from your school now, from your program now, or from Immigrant, who gets into that, who writes that guy a proposal and see what I've done. You check out the professor's work. I have some free webinars. I'll pull out the link and give you that has been recorded on how to find US scholarships, on you write to the professor, you go to the website of National Science Foundation. That's where you see the list of all the professors that have gotten funding. It's the one that's gotten funding you will apply to a school. You follow the money. When you follow the money, they have no choice. That guy cannot email you back and say, dear student, I do not have funding. And you say, sir, after reading of your great success on the NSF website, congratulations on your funding. May I ask that I know that you will be having need on this, and you send them attachment of all the UI UX you have done. Give them your GitHub profile. Give them your everything you've done before, your skill set. And that can be totally life-changing. So let's take some questions.
So one of the questions I like taking first in these sessions is that we have 3 types of audience in the room. So we have people that are just trying to get into tech. Some have not even made up their mind whether or not it's tech they want to do or something else. Some are already beginner level, learning 1 or 2 things. My question typically is, what should they be doing now? You said many things. Second audience are people that are already a couple of years into technology, have worked in 1 or 2 companies, probably not getting as paid as much as they expected to be paid in the field of technology. Some are getting paid very well, but generally just a couple of years of experience. Third audience are people that have been in technology for years. They've been head of IT in a bank or managing a bunch of servers in the data center and so on. And they too, some of them are here on this call, 10 years, 15 years of experience, and now they are looking in this direction in terms of immigration, in terms of better life for the family, not just themselves now, but they have family to take care of and think about as well. What would you advise each one of these set of people to do or be doing as at today?
Yeah, so speaking to those who are like technology leaders, I would say that you already have enough pedigree. This is assuming that you were documenting all of the things you did in the last 10 years. You already have enough pedigree to be recognized as an exceptional person in your field. Also, you need to look, this is, since you've said that they're top people and all of that, this is very important. When I was at Microsoft, people take out time every year to go to the US, the UK, they go to headquarters. And the only reason they go there is to go find interviews. Now, that is a company that has headquarters in the US. And if you're not working with any of such companies, what I'm trying to say here is always try to have 1 or 2 good visas in your hand at every point in time, such that you take out 2 months or a month or 3 weeks every year, writing to all the people who are there that you know that are in the States, and coming there to say you're going to need to take a few interviews whenever you come. It's extremely important. It's the way, you see, it's a global marketplace. And no matter how unrealistic you may find that it's like chasing shadows. Nobody has invited me. Go there. Visit the offices. Visit the Microsoft headquarters. Take some business cards when you get there. I'm telling you, go to Google headquarters. There are tourist visits there every single day. Ask questions. Find out about the head of marketing. Find out about these roles. Connect somebody on LinkedIn who works out of that particular office. Tell him you'll be dropping by in a few days just to have some conversations. They work there. They don't need to know you to have a conversation. So these are like high-level stuff you can do. Also, if you are top like that, please consider using LinkedIn Premium and send in messages to recruiters, particularly recruiters that are directly attached to like recruiter at Amazon, recruiter at Google, recruiter at this. Have the conversation with them. Also, you can use the carrot stick approach. Usually what I did before, I thought I was going to work at Microsoft after coming to the United States, but ultimately I found that it wasn't even needed for what I'm doing right now. So one of the things I did in my final year at Microsoft was that anytime I went to corporate or to France or any of those places, you know what I would tell them? When during networking meetings, I'll be like, oh, my wife is moving to the US and there's suckers for family. I'm like, my wife is, so it's stick and carrot approach. Truly, my wife is moving to the US, but she's still waiting for my own US to pull through before she moves, right? So I'm like, my wife is moving to the US. So they're like, oh my God, that's so, what's she going to do? I'm so, okay, she just wants to move to the US and, take care of her children, go to school, do all of these kind of things. And I want to be with them. I don't want to be separate from them. I want to, so I'm like, okay, sure. Let me introduce you to 1 or 2 persons, maybe a few roles that are available in corporate, but then maybe and so on and so forth. So you can use the stick and carrot approach as well, where you're essentially reaching out to these guys, and you're like, you know what, our family wants to move to the US and within a few months, I have a great job where I'm in Nigeria, but I'm looking to transition to a new opportunity. The third one that is very handy that I want to tell you as well, actually the third one, but that won't be the last one. The third one is that countries like Germany actually have things they call job seeker visa. Have you guys heard about it? Job seeker visa. The job seeker visa allows you to actually go to Germany, and be a job seeker for 6 months. Apart from having a blocked account, other than that, there is no limitation. So you can basically move to Germany and then look for a job and see, this is where it now happens. So I say, what if I don't find a job? Why won't you find a job? Don't be that person who asks, what if I don't find a job? Be that person who asks, what if I find a job? So you got to go there, physically go to places, go to networking meetings, preferably be in a field that is in demand. DevOps, cloud, UI UX, software testing, product management, data science, machine learning, software engineering, like be in demand. Don't carry just IT manager, system up alone. Except you're doing system up in the cloud, like DevOps, as that person said. So that job seeker visa is also a really good plan. I have a free webinar as well that's out there online about getting the German job seeker visa and so on and so forth. Then the final thing I want to tell you is look for low barrier countries. This is very important. If you are of age and it's looking difficult to be able to move out of Nigeria, you've been rejected by a few countries, look for a few low barrier countries in Africa, Kenya, Ghana, South Africa. If you move there for a year, you will be able to do interviews for other jobs, and you'll be able to do interviews for other visas as a worker in those countries. You won't have to return home to come and join the queue in Lagos or Abuja, where they are already possessed. I'm sorry to say, they are like they are ready. Engineer, I don't record down. They are ready to shy anybody because of the number of people that are applying. Do you understand what I'm saying? So low barrier countries can help. Move to the Gambia, you might not move the entire family yet. Take a job in South Africa, take a job in Kenya, take a job and you, as a worker in each of those countries with a visa, with a work visa on your passport, some of the work permit of those countries no reach 500,000. That's the truth. So once you get into those places, you can do a US interview, a UK interview in that place. And that can in turn position you for what you're trying to achieve. All right.
And what about the beginners?
For beginners, I think most of this session was for you as a beginner. That's why I took time to give the exigencies of where I came from. At the time, I was being taught for Trans 77, then I took responsibility, started using Coursera, started using all of this program. I even encouraged you to join Beacom program. Do you understand what I'm saying? To be able to see what is possible. So as a beginner, you've heard all I can say. You need to be ready, you need to be convinced, and you need to take it on. But no country, I repeat, no country has set up itself to attract non-entities. It is only the United Nations refugee policy that has folded the hands of many countries. At the end of the day, every country is interested in attracting the best talents. If you're really good, China will be rushing for you. The United States will be rushing for you. The UK will be rushing for you. And Mr. Badi and I have told you today that you don't need to look down on yourself and say, am I good enough? Because there is a clear pathway to becoming good enough. Number of GitHub commits. Whether you're a data scientist and you have projects you've contributed to on kgoo.com, whether you have a good UI UX portfolio on Behance or Figma, whether you have enough client lists of software that you have built or web development that you have done. So it's hard work, but it's hard work that you're doing for your family. Have you seen people who work in oil and gas? Say, a guy collects 20 million a year, but his working is behind off. He's working offshore, onshore, everywhere. He's working for his money. Do you understand what I'm saying? Because Microsoft was like the real first formal job I had, apart from working with a professor at the university. I'm always really shocked at how many of the young people I work with today, take jobs. I have an engineer who worked with me, good guy, but I was shocked the day he told me that he needs his weekend to himself, Saturday, Sunday. I'm like, born monkey. Why are you choosing, at this level, why are you choosing work-life balance at 24? There's no work-life balance for you. It is the years of your hustle. Now, not everybody believes in what I'm saying. I understand. I'm talking to the younger folks now. You're 24, 25. Work hard. In fact, if they give you free weekend, take another job over the weekend. Because your mates all across the world are doing 3-4 jobs. Not because they are poor, but because they have vision. They have goals. They want to buy their third house at 25. I'm not talking about Americans born in America. I'm talking about Nigerians who immigrated to the United States and are doing these things I'm telling you. So it is just about superior commitment to these things. So be part of it. Get every Google scholarship program you see, do it. Talking to the younger folks now, every Facebook scholarship, do it. Udacity is releasing scholarship, nano degree, do it. Coursera has this program for Africa. Pluralsight, you see all these things they post all over now. Do it. By the time you submit your resume, about 6 machine learning courses, 5 data science courses, 4 Tableau courses, overkill. That's what you do with your 24 to 30. Then you can now begin to, say, okay, this is what, and the funny thing, we didn't even have this much knowledge just 6 years ago.
Exactly.
So this knowledge you're getting now, you don't have to wait even when you're 30. If you're someone like me who is slightly impatient, so you can take it on and things will begin to happen for you within the next year or 2. All right. I hope that helped.
Fantastic. Thank you for that. We have a bunch of questions on the chat, and I'm just going to be reading some of them out. And remember, I mentioned if you have questions, please post it in the chat, and we'll do our best to get to as many questions as possible. I see Olu says, can one set up a business in Canada while in Nigeria? I know you mentioned it, but maybe you want to just reassure him again.
Yeah, so you can. You don't need to be in Canada to register a business in Canada. And same with the United States. Those
Okay.
countries have been set up for you to be able to, you will need a Canadian address, as a matter of fact. So you might want to talk to somebody who is there, can register a business, and if they see you as someone of value, who is not, who doesn't have criminal tendencies, they most likely allow you to use their address, okay? But there are also plenty ways to go about that. There are private offices, there are virtual offices, virtual address services that you can look up online to be able to get that sorted out. And the other way that I really like is to simply find a partner who is already based in Canada and say, we are co-founders on this company. You understand? Okay. I'm offering 20%, I'm offering 10%, all of those kind of things, so that the person also knows that they have some stake in what they're doing. But yes, you can register a company in Canada and even the US without being there.
Yeah. You also mentioned about SysOps, DevOps, and then that are there opportunities for them? You've mentioned this, but it's good to reassure them.
Yeah, please, I reassure you. It's just that in isolation, SysOps might not have its own, like, a lot of job opportunities. So together, just as you have grouped them, they have huge opportunities. Azure is blowing up everywhere. AWS blowing up everywhere. So all of these skills are in higher demand as companies continue to go digital, right? So if you read the CFO report of 2020, it was explaining that for the United States, 80% of CFOs in the US CIOs report, pardon me. 80% of CIOs in the US believe that they're going to implement AI and cloud within their business. 80%. But 50% of that 80% are not clear how they will do it. So there are lots of dev opportunities that you can take advantage of. Even by just searching Indeed.com, Dice.com, Monster.com, you will see lots of opportunities that are sitting there.
Okay. All right. You mentioned about the someone says, is there a website where some of these foreign jobs are posted? Would you want to comment on that?
Where these jobs are posted? Okay,
yes,
so I already mentioned them. Monster.com. So sometimes we only know LinkedIn. So Dice.com. Some of you also know Indeed.com.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, already, because Indeed is quite popular. So check those out. And of course, Glassdoor.com. And then the website of those top companies is very, very powerful to use, like the career site of Microsoft, all those kind of things like that. It's very powerful.
Yeah. So I'll read this next one out because I think it's from, well, maybe I shouldn't mention his name since we are recording. It's nice listening and all of that. It's discouraging when we can't afford the cash. A lot of sample projects be done in both desktop application and Android. So he has done desktop apps. He has done some Android apps. I'm glad they are from Nigeria and you understand how the system works. I just feel so discouraged when I'm offered a little for my experience. So he's not getting paid as much as he believes is worth. So what would you say to him?
My brother, this might be your push. The truth is that when you look at those companies, because I run a Nigerian company as well, when you look at those companies, they pay what they feel is acceptable within the market, that the market admits, right? Secondly, there are lots of alternatives. That's why talent seems to be so cheap. Because if you say you're not going to do it for 150,000, there's another guy who is going to do it, in fact, there are 25 other guys who need it to pay their rent that month, and they will take it. They will take it. So when you see things like that, it worries you, and I understand that it worries you. But what you must tell yourself is, if I'm not valued here and my skills are good, I should go to where I'm valued now. Just simply decide that you're going to go to where you're valued. So but if you say that, I'm just going to remain there until my change comes, well, at the end of the day, you'll be head of IT at a top bank and your salary will still be 450,000 naira, which is what somebody who works in McDonald's is going to get every month just by flipping burgers. Yet you are doing something so important that NASA should be hiring you for, but you are not, So what you need to do is to just say, whatever I'm doing now, that I'm using to keep body and soul together, that is what it is. It is just what it is. It is not where I'm going to. And you will use the resources from there to get yourself a better opportunity and a better life.
Yeah, and you've also answered this question because he also mentioned that he doesn't even know where to start from and all of that. So you may also want to look at some of the online platforms where you can do like freelancing, Fiverr, and all of those kind of things, you may want to look at that. Though, I mean, it has its own ball game and you need to learn the ropes, especially if you are just starting, but that may be something that is interesting to you. I also suspect, because sometimes we overvalue our skills. And so maybe you want to work in a startup that has an upward trajectory and find them, just go and volunteer there. Say that I want to just work there for 3 months. Trust me, in some cases, your eyes may actually be open that, oh, there are things that I didn't know. And those are even the worst things ever. Because if you think, oh, I'm very good, I'm the best at this kind of things, and then you get there and you realize that, oh, I really didn't know this thing, then maybe you know the direction of where to go from there. Yeah, so I transited from hands-on developer to business manager. So now I'm fully into sales. What opportunities are available for people in technology sales?
Yeah, there are actually a lot of opportunities for people in technology sales. The question really is whether those opportunities are sufficient enough to migrate somebody. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, for example, when you are here in the US already, you have a green card holder, you have a work permit. There are lots of jobs at Amazon, at Google, at Microsoft, where they're basically trying to sell their technology and looking for evangelists and product experts and so on and so forth. You know, but the key thing here is it enough to be able to? Tech Nation will not take anybody who's doing technology sales. Startup Canada, startup visa in Canada would not recognize somebody using technology sales as except you have a product-led company that is into technology sales. Do you understand what I'm saying? And of course, if you're in technology sales, you can still do the O1 Tech Nation, but maybe you would have been, O1 visa in the US, but maybe you would have been very recognized. You've won maybe the championship of sales in the world or in Africa or something like that. You know, that's basically what can happen. But are there prospects when you already have the, visa and all the work permits? There are several prospects.
Thank you for that. I have someone that sent privately, and so first class graduate, first class honors, and asking what scholarships are available for the school route. Also, a software developer planning on taking a specialized skill. I don't know if you have additional advice. I know you've spoken about it, and I would say, please, you can rewatch the video later. He did mention quite a number of things, but I don't know if you want to add anything else for this particular person, particularly because the person said first class. Because, yeah, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, so I'll say for those of you who are first class, quite frankly, the opportunities are plenty. And they start from you taking on advanced degrees. And you might have first class and be like, oh, I don't think I want to go back to school. But the real thing here is not about going back to school. It's about doing what needs to be done, just like you did. Because I'm certain that you crammed a lot when you got the first class in any Nigerian university. That's the truth. No matter how smart you are, you were good at cramming. Because most Nigerian universities really need cramming for you to be able to make first class. Because I'm sure you will meet bad lecturers who don't care about assimilation, who will tell you have to give it to them back. And if you rebels like us and some of the other guys will never make it first class because of that. But since you've made it first class, you are a scholar. You should be on the Chevening scholarship. You should be on the, there are several schools that were accepted in the US for that CGPA, and of course, please, write your GRE. Write your GRE. People run away when they hear tests. Me too, it makes me feel somehow. But if it is the only thing standing between me and the future I want, come on, I've written it already. Do you understand? So for you as a scholar, writing that quantitative reasoning and that aptitude test and all of those assessments are in GMAT and GRE, and it's not bad at all. Take your GRE and you will see this year, even next year spring, you will get like 9-10 admissions. Also, you can look for schools, maybe 3 schools that collect application fee and then 8 other schools that don't collect application fee. If you type it in Google, US schools that don't have application fee, you will see several of them pop out. So apply to like 10-15 schools, not 1, not 2, 10-15 schools. And you will see the ones, you will now be choosing between admission. Oh, this one gave me 60% funding. Oh, that one gave me 50% funding. Oh, this one gave me more 100% funding before you then go on to take on that decision. Because once you get into a master's to PhD program, you are sorted. It's not like the way you were stressed in Nigeria. It is intense, don't get me wrong. But you are doing it with joy. And you already know that even before you leave that program, opportunities, massive ones, are already waiting for you. So that's one pathway since you are a scholar. The other pathway is everything else I've said from the beginning.
Thank you for that. We'll just take one or two more questions because our time is fast spent. Someone is trying, if you can elaborate, you spoke about meetings where turning artificial intelligence. Can you elaborate? I think that would be covering what is speaking about. I'm not sure, but the question says US meeting you mentioned where they are turning AI. Can you elaborate? I didn't really get the question, but could you talk about the covering works and some of the trainings that you offer?
Yeah, I mean, I posted a link. Yeah, I posted a link already right there. That link shows like the replay of the webinars for Europe that I did before, which can be a resource for you, but also talks about the also has a link to the data science and AI program. So we partner with the American Center for Artificial Intelligence, an organization that I also co-founded, to provide AI engineers to the United States economy. So we're partnering at the highest levels with like the Department of Defense, different organizations, because 30% of the American military budget was diverted to focus on AI from last year. So there's a huge attention on artificial intelligence and machine learning in the United States. And it's just such the best time to be alive and to be in the United States, right? So what we are doing with the AI immersion program is that we're bringing in students who can get on our program, whether they can afford it or not. We've created a model where they can pay only the enrollment fee. Rather than paying the whole 1 million naira, they pay the enrollment fee. And when they get into the program, then if they want us to secure a job for them, they will sign the job bond. And then our recruiters, because we're a recruiting company, will then focus on getting them the job bond. So, but right now, the statistics are there. US posted 2.8 million technology jobs in the year 2018 on the internet. 2.8 million. Only 48% of those jobs were filled. 48%. So it means that for every company that is posting 20 jobs, right, they are only able to fill like 8 or 9 out of it. So they have a need to be able to have AI people, machine learning people come into the United States. So basically that's what I wanted to say about that. So the link is there, www.covenworks.com/2021. The way the program is structured is that if you join in January, it's the same thing you will pay. If you join in July, it's the same thing you will pay throughout the year, and it only runs in 2021. By 2022, now I'm going to follow Bincom's model, and then you understand. I'll follow Bincom's model and just know that okay, I'm taking all my money once and for all, because the program is worth it. I paid for a data science class at the University of North Texas last year, December, for $6,000. The same program. In fact, the same examples that my teachers in my program use is the same examples the professor was using, and I pay 6,000. In my mind, I'm like, what did I come to look for here? And this is a program that we charge $400 for in Africa. So we don't know what we're enjoying. This same program Bincom is doing for you now at 1 million is about $22,000 if you are doing it in General Assembly. And you will soon find out by the time you move to America or to Canada, because I know you guys will make it happen. I have no doubt whatsoever.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Someone was asking about recording for this program. I've posted the link to the recording on the chat. I advise you to please copy that link now because after this session, that recording is only available to our premium community members, meaning you have to pay to get the link. So I advise you, please copy the link now so that you can watch it later. So that being said, there's a question here that I believe I'll just make that the last question so that we can then close today's session. So the person is asking about digital marketing. I've lost that question now. Yes, so it says there's a high chance for developers. What about for digital marketers? I was going to say a few things. One of them is that don't just sit down and be a digital marketer. There's something called performance marketing. That's actually where there is a demand. Digital marketing is pure water to a large extent, but performance marketing, only few people are able to get to that level. However, you need opportunities for you to become a performance marketer. A performance marketer is someone that spends hundreds of thousands of dollars on marketing, right? So it's a volumes-based thing. You understand the marketing funnel and all of those kind of things. There are digital agencies in Nigeria. There are digital agencies where you can work remotely. You can volunteer, you can intern, and all of those kind of things. But that's where the opportunity is. But Mr. Shola, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm very weary when people call themselves digital marketers, because many people have picked up that title without going through any formal education or even any structured, just because you manage one or two Instagram accounts for somebody and all that. But this may not be your case, my friend. I'm just trying to say that as a result, you want to distinguish yourself a little more, by probably not using that nomenclature to define yourself and the work that you do. And one of those examples is what Mr. Bade has given you just right there. So I want you to take that, and take that to heart. But more importantly, if you can certify yourself in things like advanced analytics, on Azure, or advanced analytics on Power BI, or Tableau, or some high-level marketing software, that is being used, or in Google Ads, or you certify yourself in Google Ads, or certify yourself in, search advertising, that kind of thing, can distinguish you and make you sort of like different from the other guys. So I want you to see if you can do that, because that's going to really, really set you apart. Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. I see someone asking that what advice does he have for second class or non-first class people? He already spoke a lot about that. Take a look at the recording, play it back, and you will find that he mentioned several things that you should be doing, both whether or not you're going through the academic line, if you're going to be a developer, submission to GitHub, and several other things, if you're UI, UX, Behance, and so on. He mentioned a lot of things, and many of these things are also in the public domain. Ask yourself this question. He showed a website. Why did you not know about that website before today? Why have you not gone there? Because it's in public domain. This was the Immigration Canada website. These things are in the public domain, but you need to find out those information for yourself. And that's what I was saying about the person in terms of exposure. Ensure that you even know the things you don't know, because you know that you can plan for it in terms of learning it and all. Also, he mentioned a lot about planning, that there are things you should be doing today. If really you are serious about this, emigrate and all of those kind of things, there are things that you should be doing today as regards your future plans, whether you are just a beginner that you just started learning, or you've already done a lot of things in the past, or you have some level of experience, or you are many years into the field and you're a technology leader. There are things that you should be doing today towards your plan. If you are doing nothing at all towards your plan, then there's a problem, or you were not ready in the first place. Before Mr. Shola gives his final words, I'll just mention again that for Immigrate, we do a lot of things for free. What we are trying to do is build a community of people that have the same passion, are focused on the same way, because we believe that community would help. And I know that someone did mention that where can I find a community? So yeah, Immigrate community is available. I also know that Mr. Shola has a community, is a community for people looking to migrate. What's it called? The Japa community. I'm sorry, what's the community called, sir?
It's called Move Me in 12 Months, yeah.
Yeah, Move Me in 12 Months, right? They focus also on different pathways in terms of immigration and all of that. You may want to check that out as well. There are communities available if you are really looking for it. We do also have a premium community. It's a paid one. You pay on a yearly basis for it. We also have a few other services. A few people send messages to say they are still not clear in terms of what should be their pathway, in terms of what should I be doing now, and so on. If you need help, we are here for coaching as well. We charge for our time, however, and so this may be something interesting to you to say, oh, fine, I'm interested in, I need coaching and so on. And if you're already in the pathway, you're trying to apply, for example, with the Tech Nation and so on, you need templates and so on, those are also available. If you're interested in any of these services, you can go to that link, or you can request for the particular Immigrate service that you are interested in. For example, our Immigrate Premium service is available. And as I mentioned, this is a 1 to 2 year hand-holding process. that could help you land exactly where you want to be by that time. In terms of the Emigrate Open Day, we have a few sessions coming up within the next couple of weeks. On May 19, we'll be focusing on UK routes, and we'll be talking from a Tech Nation perspective, but from a slightly different perspective than the one we spoke about in April, and we have a guest that is coming up on that. And then on June 12, we have someone that went through the graduate assistant route. Mr. Shola mentioned a bit about that as well in the US, and he's going to be giving some information around that. There's also the French Tech Visa, and we're trying to slot that in within the coming weeks as well. I would just mention in passing, in case you are already a tech leader and you're looking for a mentoring platform, we are looking for mentors. We are looking for mentors right now. And that mentorship itself will be part of your profile, will be part of your CV, because this is a formal mentoring platform. And so you can just go to that link, that's the Bincom Tech Network, and just mention that, oh, you are available to mentor, and one of the community managers will reach out to you. There will be a formal application process and all of that, but we are doing a pilot with a few mentors first before we then launch fully the mentoring platform. Also, I mentioned the Global Tech Program. If you're interested in that, you can go to bincom.net/global tech to apply. It's a 1 to 2 year program, 1 year minimum, 2 years maximum program. And what it does is it takes you from whatever level you are today to the next level that you need to be in. So it goes across you learning the skills you need, you gaining the experience you need for your profile, and also gaining the exposure that you need. And the Emigrate session and the Emigrate Premium, which I mentioned before now, is part and parcel of this particular program. It costs 1.2 million naira, but we do have the income sharing agreement, which means that you can pay the fee at the end of the program when you start earning as well. If you're interested in any of these that we've mentioned, whether it's the free services or the paid services, the URLs on your screen would be some of the ones that you should probably take a look at. Go to the URL now. Don't wait till later when you are trying to figure out what is going on. The Emigrate community is also available for those that are members of the Emigrate community, where you can ask questions whenever that community is open for interaction. So, Mr. Shola, we've spent over 1.5 hours. I don't know if you have some final words for the audience and for the people on this program.
Yeah, so, well, I just want to say, be very open-minded. Be very open-minded, remain focused on what you're trying to do. There will be nights and days of serious frustration out of, like, you know, what is really pushing you from Nigeria. As I've said, I told you what my own push factors or my own pull factors are. So there'll be days like that you would be like, oh my God, this thing should just pull through already. But just keep going, keep trying, keep learning. And one major advice I always give people is don't take just one route, take multiple routes. If you want to live in the shortest possible time, don't say, I'm going to wait for this one to be done. When this one is done, then I'll do another one. No. Get those opportunities, get them parallel, and strive to earn, even while you're in Nigeria, because this is a process that costs money. You've seen some of the things, you know, Mr. Bade showed you there. Like, just imagine how helpless someone can be if they can't afford to do those things. So try to earn, and as you're earning, don't be like your friends, you know, we buy new cars, buy new this, because you know where you're going and you know what you're trying to do. And there is no amount you spend on this pathway that is too much. Because at the end of the day, when you move, you would realize that this is the best thing you could have done for yourself. I wish you guys the best.
Thank you so much, sir. And from me, I know someone says his question was not answered. Your question was actually answered. This platform is focused on tech-enabled skills. What we did was we also mentioned a few other things, the tech-enabled visa, sorry. We also mentioned a few other things that you can start searching for, right? But however, if you need additional help and so on, Mr. Shola has at Move Me in 12 months. That's the handle that you can search for online, or you can just go online. Oh yes, and then we have an app coming up. It's already in the Play Store called Investi. You should check that out. The link is in the chat as well. So please bear that in mind. For those that need additional information, we showed a couple of links. You can send a message to that or send a mail to emigrate@bincom.net. You will get a reply back, and that reply will contain some of the handles and all of that. Emigrate today is incubated by Bincom Dev Center. So those that are asking for the link in terms of social media, if you look for Bincom Dev Center online, we do a lot of things, but one of the things we do is the Emigrate and Emigrate Open Day as well. So hopefully we believe that we've answered many questions today, and this is also a community. If you have questions you feel have not been answered, we have the Emigrate community where you can ask those questions for free. And we do have the premium community where you have to pay and you can actually interact with people that are more serious-minded in terms of this particular journey as well. That being said, thank you so much, everyone, for being part of this session today. And we wish you the very best in your journey. And the last thing I would just say is that please and please and please take action now. Don't wait till next year and find out that you didn't actually do anything about the things that was said today. Mr. Shola, thank you so much for the time that, you've given us to this community. We really, really, really appreciate you. I'm sure people are giving you a virtual round of applause at the moment, and we'll just say thank you, thank you, thank you, and God bless you. Good night, everybody. I'm wishing you all the best.